Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I'm Nikki Maduro. She is Kim McAllister. We have a very packed show. It's going to be an hour long because it is opening night for my son, who is the lead in the play this evening. So mama's got to get there. So we're going to be talking all of it in this 1 hour. So hit that subscribe button, the thumbs up, and please, if you can support the show in all of the ways that we've included in the bottom, please do so. So the play is called 13 Junior, and he's the friggin' lead. And I think I'm just going to be crying, I think. So yes, I'm very, very excited, and it's at school, and I'm just very excited, and I just can't wait. So anyways, I digress. We have a packed show. I do want to get into the tariff fight. Governor Gavin Newsom, he is very optimistic, Kim McAllister. He is very optimistic that California, he has filed a suit along with Attorney General Rob Bonta. I read the lawsuit. It's like 20 something pages. I read the whole thing.
Wow.
It's actually not that bad to read. It's not like, it's not about a bunch of legal jargon, but it does make sense. Yeah. And it's everything that we've said before, basically in a nutshell, that Trump does not have the legal power to do it. And because of the huge economy that California has, we are impacted way more than any other state.
True.
And they're basically asking, well, one, California is just asking, just call off the tariffs altogether, if not at least exempt California from it. I'm really hoping that this isn't just something for show. This could be, I mean, he's really optimistic that we could possibly, and I'm using the California we could win this lawsuit. He says, Governor Newsom says, no state is poised to lose more than the state of California. He's condemned the impacts of the tariffs. He's called out NVIDIA, which suffered a $5.5 billion with a B dollar loss to export its semiconductors to China. He says the entire Trump administration remains committed to addressing this national emergency. Well, that's what the Trump administration is saying. And they want to keep the tariffs on. Now, Bonta has sued the federal government on average once a week since Trump took office, but he's confident California would prevail. I love that. I love that statistic. Once a week, Rob Bonta has sued Donald Trump. So that's like 14 lawsuits. Since Trump came into office. But he thinks that Newsom thinks the lawsuit's a lock under the major questions doctrine. That's under which the Supreme Court says most major regulatory authority rests with Congress. We'll see. Cheryl says, I think Newsom uses unusual strategy and he's very smart. I don't think this is unusual. Trump is using this idea that we're under this emergency, and that's why we need to do all of this crap. He's trying every which way to destroy our economy and convincing people that it needs to be done. And, I don't want to go too far over what we talked about last week, but I really do hope that Newsom, in filing this lawsuit, it's the first lawsuit that has been filed over the tariffs. I'm really hoping that something could be done with this, because not only the tariffs, not only taking away the purse strings from Congress, which is in our Constitution, what's happening with Mr. Abrego and due process, the erosion that is happening before our eyes, the ignoring of the Supreme Court order. And we're going to talk about Abrego, and we need to do something. I mean, it has to stop. And so I'm proud of our governor, Kim, for at least being the first state to do something about it.
Yeah, I am too. Although I have to tell you that I no longer have faith in the courts. Now, I know we have a couple of judges that are trying to hold Trump's feet to the fire here and make him cooperate and not defy court orders. But I don't see him cooperating, and I don't see them having any recourse. I know we had a unanimous Supreme Court decision to uphold a lower court ruling to facilitate Mr. Abrego's release.
Right.
But when push comes to shove, I think, and I hope I'm wrong, and I would love to be proven wrong, I think everyone will bend and break in the wake of Trump flexing his power, authority, and influence. And so, do I think California's case will wind up before the Supreme Court? And do I think it will be knocked down? Probably. The best chance at knocking down these tariffs that I've heard so far came last night when I was watching Colbert, and
Okay.
Elizabeth Warren is on, and she's
Mm-hmm.
talking about the tariffs and how they don't make any sense and they're causing
Right.
chaos, and we all know this, right? And she says there's another congressperson and I who are are reclaiming the authority of the legislative branch to say, no, Trump, you've said that this is an emergency and this is why you're claiming this power. We say
Mm-hmm.
it's not an emergency and it's our power, not yours, and you can't do this. I think it might be too late as far as throwing the economy into chaos and the markets and everything else, but
Right.
I would like to see it work because technically that's constitutional. There's
Right.
there's no real gray area here. If Congress says it's not an emergency, he can't do that. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But
Well, he
I'm glad
go,
that people are standing up, but I don't know how it'll play out in the end.
well, he said earlier today, Trump did, that he was in quote unquote no rush to finish trade deals.
Mhm.
As people's livelihoods are like hanging in the balance, he said he thought he could wrap up tariff talks over the next 3 or 4 weeks. And people are saying that's even ambitious. But why would countries even want to work with Donald Trump? Why would they want to? Why do they want to work with the US? I mean, we don't even, we're not even sticking with our allies. It obviously seems like he just wants to stick it to China.
Mhm.
I mean, it's absolutely. I've been getting into these back and forths with people about China and how throwing all of these democratic speeches about doing something about China from years
Mhm.
ago. Which again, we talked about it earlier. Yes, but it's not as if we haven't benefited from the exploitation of cheap labor and goods
Yeah.
to cry woe is me as the United States of America, the most powerful nation in the world. Give me a friggin' break over here. Okay? We set the rules. Yes, when we're talking about what we did for jobs and what we gave away and that did not take care of our own people
Yep.
because of that. Yes, I completely agree. But let's stop acting like we didn't get something in return. We just gave up a lot as well. We gave up our middle class. We
Mhm.
gave up our middle class jobs. That's what we gave up. So, yes, we got cheap goods. We only have to pay so much for shoes, right? But what did we give up? I don't know if it was, obviously, many people are saying it wasn't a fair deal.
Mhm.
But we have to fundamentally change our market, and it's not going to happen like that.
I like Agoff Twitler's uh, chat here. He says, or she, I think it's a he. Why would anyone trust the Donald as he flips
Mhm.
and flops and lies and squeals? And
Exactly.
I guess. Oh, sorry, the drink is coming.
You're waving me off.
I did. I'm like, go away. Oh wait, no, don't go away. Thank you
Please do
for bringing
not.
the drink. Oh, I needed this today. I'll tell you. Thank you very much. Oh, it's a kamikaze. Thank you.
Oh, and I've got the
Ooh.
Maduro Mule over here too. So
But here's the thing.
Is it good?
No, yeah, it's great. Thank you. I don't understand how the world can trust us ever again. With his whole, and I agree with Senator Warren, who's calling it a red light, green light, right?
right,
It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. How can the world trust America again?
right,
We look like we're completely unstable. We look like
exactly.
the crazy neighbor down the street. You never
Mhm.
know what they're going to do next. You can't predict how the neighborhood's going to, is it going to be a peaceful day?
Right.
Is it going to be chaos today? You don't know. And so we become untrustworthy. And when you
Mhm.
can't trust something, and that's been the hallmark of America, right? With a
Right.
stable place to invest your money.
Exactly.
People knew that America was kind of an even keel. Here we're sailing through the sea, maybe a little bump here, but we're navigating the waves. Now we're up and we're crash and we're up and so the world can't trust us anymore and can't trust our financial picture anymore. And now we become in real trouble. And that's the problem with the red light, green light game he's playing.
Yeah. I mean, once Trump is gone, Vicky says we'll earn their trust back. Maybe. But what has he done not only to our economy, Vicky, but the global economy? And what deals are being made between other countries right now? And I know it doesn't just happen like that, right? I mean, it's not as if economies are like, can turn on a dime, right? Yeah. There's planning and manufacturing and all sorts of things. And I get it. But like Kim said, I agree with you 100%. We are ruining our reputation in 14 weeks. In 14 weeks.
So quickly. I don't know, though, if that's right, that once he's gone, we'll be able to get it back. It'll be better, but it's the American people that caused this. Don't forget, the whole reason he's there is because America, maybe not you and me, but everybody else, right?
We voted for
him. So does the rest of the world then look at America and go, we can't trust you, you voters. Yeah. We can't trust you as a country because we don't know what you're going to do next. We don't know if you're going to be duped again.
Exactly.
You're no longer stable. What is happening with you? What is the reason that you fell for this and voted for this person, and could it happen again? And so now we look like, we need to be on meds.
I love that. Ren, thank you so much for the donation. She says, thank you for being here with us, Nikki and Kim. Cheers from Cameo. And Ren,
yay!
Are lawsuits tax deductible for the state? I don't know. I wish. I don't think so. And Vicky, thank you also for the $20 donation. Yay for Dylan. Yay. I will be giving you all I'll give you guys some sneak peeks next week of his performance today.
Will he let you play the video that you're going to sneak tonight?
I really hope so. Okay. I don't see why he wanted. I'll ask first because we have that conversation all the time about parents and social media. So I guess it depends on how he does, but it's the first time he's the lead. So anyways, let's stop talking about that.
I can't stop talking about it.
I know. I'm just really. But let's also talk just back to Trump and our economy. The egg shortage, the Easter egg roll is still happening with actual eggs at the White House. Actual eggs, which it's not Trump's decision. It's the Egg Association. It's put on the Egg Board. The American Egg Board actually is giving the eggs, which I don't know how you feel about it. I mean, I guess it's their eggs. They can do it. I feel like, and we're going to talk about this towards the end of the show. It's kind of like read the room a little bit. We're going to talk about the spaceship. Okay. We're going to talk about that at the end of the show. But it's like to have eggs just rolling down the grass at the White House seems completely effing tone deaf, doesn't it? Like
you can still eat them though. I mean, people will get them and they'll eat the.
I don't want to eat an egg that's rolled down. I feel like they're going to be broken or something. Do you think they're not hard boiling them all? Do you think?
Yo, totally. You would have to hard boil them. They're Easter eggs.
You think that they're hard boiling all those eggs before they roll them down the hill?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think that they did. I don't know. I've never done it. Oh, maybe you guys tell me. I figured it was. I don't know. That's a great. Google that. I guess that makes more sense.
I mean, that's what you do with Easter eggs. You hard boil them, you color them, you hide them, right?
That's a hell of a lot of eggs to hard boil, but I guess it's the White House and they have a bunch of chefs on staff.
Yeah, I think they're hard boiled, dude. I really do.
It would be a mess. I know how there's but that's how I imagine things just being a mess.
Oh my, what a hell of a mess. Yeah, exactly.
Just picking them up. I just pick it up and throw it at Trump and just be like, there, have your friggin' eggs. You're probably right. I'm probably wrong. I just, in my mind, I'm imagining.
Then you'd be at Secret Service and be like, you can't throw eggs at the president, ma'am. No.
Damn it. Okay, yeah. I mean, they just say real eggs.
30,000 eggs they're rolling out for this event.
They never say hard boiled. I'm sorry.
Eggs.
What are they?
I mean, has to be hard boiled. I mean, that just assumed? Now you've got me really wondering.
I mean, that's a lot of deviled eggs. That's all I'm saying. Can you imagine the smell about like having to boil all of those eggs. Anyways, they have to be hard boiled. I'm sure you're absolutely right. I'm sure you're right. That's really funny though. I
I'm
think that
trying to find out. I mean, I assume they're hard boiled.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just assume they are, or if they're not, throw them at the president.
No, don't do that.
Come on, children.
Don't
just
do that, kids. Don't do that.
Um,
Auntie Kimmer says that's a bad idea.
Auntie Nikki says do it anyway. So the latest on Trump versus Harvard University is heating up. Now the president, besides ordering the IRS to take away more than $2 billion in grants, he wants to take away their tax exempt status. So colleges have tax exempt status under the educational blanket of that. He's such a bitter a-hole that
Yes.
it's insane. So he says that people abuse tax exempt status, as if this MFer has not abused the tax system his entire freaking life. But that's just a bit rich. So the IRS has awarded tax exempt status to almost 2 million organizations, ranging from universities like Harvard to charities like churches and foundations. And I know it's controversial. I know a lot of people are like, oh, all of a sudden you deem yourself a church, for instance, and you don't pay taxes. And there's a lot of people. I think schools and universities like Harvard, very clear that they have an educational purpose. And of course, they should have tax exempt status. Losing the $2.2 billion in grants, I'm so proud that Harvard and now Stanford and other universities are standing up to Donald Trump, because what they're asking these universities to do is horrific. To abdicate to the federal government so much. It was ridiculous. These are private universities. And how dare they actually send this letter? I mean, it's like merit-based hiring, right? Merit-based admissions, where you would have to share the data with the federal government and be audited by the federal government. And it's so broad, not that you should do it anyway. But all of this stuff in the letter is so freaking broad that they could get you for everything. You know what I mean? They should not give them an inch of any of it. Discontinue DEI? What the hell does that even mean? What does that mean? Like, should we rip up the ramps for handicapped people? Like, what does that mean, you morons? Like, it makes no sense.
I will add this, that the Department of Homeland Security now is jumping on board. They are threatening to revoke Harvard's eligibility to host foreign students as well. So we're going to take away your right. The student visas will not be applicable to Harvard. You won't be able to have students from other countries. Part of what makes Harvard amazing is it's the best of the best from around the world.
Yeah.
These are the top minds, right?
Yeah.
And so you're going to limit this university's ability to be who they are. No, I'm not a fan.
Louise said, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Says Trump should start his own university. Oh, wait, he did. And it failed too. Exactly. Trump University
is just jealous.
Exactly.
He's just jealous. I played this earlier, but I want to play it for you again. This is a guy. His name is Andrew Manuel Crespo, and he is a distinguished legal professor, a law professor at Harvard University. He was tapped to lead the commission on the Supreme Court by President Biden. He has a million different distinctions to his name. And he is, again, a professor at Harvard. And here's what he has to say about this. On
Monday, one of his demands was to have the school appoint or allow him to appoint a federal overseer who would audit every course on this campus, every department, to try to figure out if it met the ideological balance that's preferred by the Trump administration. And that federal official would then require us to hire new teachers to teach the way that Trump wants us to teach, to change our courses. This is absolute outright efforts to take over federally what is taught on American campuses. It's a move that we see in countries across the globe when dictators are trying
dictators are trying to come into power.
It's
change
insane.
the way we teach, change what we teach, change our courses. What?
He's insane. And this is what I mean, Kim. He's before our eyes, and people, it's frightening. And I'm not saying all of us, obviously we are aware of it and we are scared and we are sounding the alarm. But other people are like, yeah, it's okay. Oh, Harvard. And then they buy the BS. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, that liberal Harvard. Shut up. You never thought that way until your dear leader told you to. Like, are you kidding me? The only thing that I'm proud of is these universities are standing up to him. But, you know, not that I'm scared that they're going to break at some point. I just think the midterms can't come quick enough. I'm scared that the courts aren't going to do something. We need to nip this in the bud now. True. The due process for Abrego, the fact that the judge is holding him in contempt, not lifting the appeal that the Trump administration, they're still holding their feet in the fire for that. Again, and we talked about the Abrego case last week. If he doesn't have due process, none of us do. That's it. I don't give a crap that he came here illegally. He was deported wrongfully. He was not supposed to go to that prison. He should have never been sent there. The Trump administration already admitted it. A lot of those people never got due process. Due process is in our Constitution. If you get rounded up, that's it. You're never going to have your time in court? Never? Like, that is not who we are. It's not who we are. And it's just as if people are like, yeah, but in this case, it's okay. No, that is not what America is. We don't get to pick and choose parts of our Constitution. And I love it that today, sadly, tragically, there's a shooting in Florida and Donald Trump's like, I'm sorry, I got to defend the Second Amendment. But you don't have to defend everything else in the frigging Constitution. Now, all of a sudden, you love the Constitution. Right. This part of the Constitution you cannot bend on. But everything else, birthright citizenship, First Amendment, due process, throw all that out. But the Second Amendment, God forbid we do anything against that. He's such a freaking hypocrite. It drives me nuts. I can't handle it. I just can't handle it.
No, I can't either. I don't know. I'm glad to see Harvard standing up. I'm glad to see that there's a movement of people that aren't afraid. I was watching this video earlier of Lisa Murkowski, who was saying, I'm afraid, we're all afraid, and we're afraid of retribution from Trump. And I'm glad she's saying it, but I'm even more happy to see that there are some colleges, that there are some institutions that will stand up and say, we're not even going to play ball with you.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars on the line and at stake. And Harvard has they basically have the FU money, pardon my French, to say, we don't, we can take a hit from your billions because we have this major endowment. And by the way, no, you don't get to pick our college classes. You don't get to do all this. But they're throwing everything they can at them, from tax exempt status to international students to, the billions in research funding. And it makes a difference between an institution that is able to affect change and to put out this research that changes the world and the ability of our institutions to be respected across the globe. So
exactly.
Once again, Trump doesn't care how we're viewed. He just wants it how he wants it.
Exactly. And the truth of the matter is, and Harvard does, I mean, it has this huge endowment. Endowments, though, have to go to certain things, but it's not just a university where kids go to get a degree. I mean, the medical research, the breakthroughs that are done at this university, at all these universities. I mean, we are going backwards. The cuts that are being made to Health and Human Services, right? I mean, he wants to slow this down. He wants to slow our progress down in the name of efficiency. It makes no sense. And again, the debates I have outside of this show, I understand, again, being more efficient with government. But I would have preferred, this is the way I see it, I would have preferred to look at a department. Let's just choose the Department of Health and Human Services. I mean, like, over the next so many years, I want you guys to do an internal audit. And I want you guys to do a justification for X, Y, and Z. Like, we really need to start slimming it down. You know what I mean? Because you guys know what you do. Like, something, right? Like, we're going to go in there. We're going to audit you. You need to explain some sort of collaboration, some sort of preparation, right? Say, we're going to be cutting this. We need to do that. Not just this blanket. Because if he truly knew what everybody did within the department, he would not have offered everyone a buyout at the beginning. He wouldn't have. He wouldn't have. Because if he offered everyone it didn't matter what anybody did, right? So there was no plan. And that's what's so frightening about all of this. He's cutting Head Start. Okay. The Head Start program. If there is anything that should not be touched, it's early education for like the littlest of children, right? It helps the best of us, right? The people that I thought that we should be helping the most, kids. Like, how do you not want to help kids with early education? Giving them the best start. And you want to know why? Because he loves the uneducated. So get them early, make them stupid early. Why give them a head start? Why give them a head start at education? Why? Why make them smart at all? The earlier they start thinking, the earlier they start thinking on their own. I mean, he does not want people to think for themselves at all. It's so freaking scary, guys. It is. And I don't know.
You saw this. It's not fine anymore, Nikki. That's what I said.
No,
it's not fine anymore. Nope.
Can I make my sad face? Okay. Can I just say one funny thing and then we're going to move on from Trump? And I don't know if you guys have heard it or talked about it on your show. Have you heard about this new game show that's coming on Fox News that I think actually, I don't know if I could turn and watch it, but I think it's a fabulous idea. And it makes me wonder, how did they know? Right? How did they know? So Fox News is hosting a game show next month. Okay.
Okay.
And it's brilliant. I might watch it, where 4 people have been kept in isolation since Trump's inauguration.
What?
And they have to guess what the president has done in his first 90 days.
No.
They are going to give them headlines and they have to guess which ones are true. And that's who wins, like,
where have they been keeping these
$50,000.
people? How many people are involved and where have they been living?
So they're in complete isolation in upstate New York. They have no contact to the outside world, no phones, no internet, no TV. Greg Gutfield's What Did I Miss is set to air on Fox Nation on May 12th. It'll feature the isolated contestants having to guess which headlines about Trump's first 90 days in the White House are true and which are false. The grand prize is $50,000.
I might actually tune in for that. I want to see if this, because to me, it seems so much more outrageous than I ever could have imagined.
Exactly.
I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't know he was, I mean, it's interesting because if you go issue by issue, it's nothing there are some things like deporting American citizens. I didn't see that one coming, but if you go issue by issue, he said he was going to do tariffs. He said he was going to institute tariffs. Even Kamala Harris at the debate said, look what he's planning to do. This is bad for our economy.
Right.
People knew this stuff was coming, right?
Yeah.
But there are some things that just seem super crazy.
Well, I think I understand the tariffs, but I just think the way that it's happening, you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine that the economy has plummeted and people's like what happened with our 401k, all of these things. So I don't know if I'll tune in, but I'll definitely watch the social media videos about it. Also the whole Elon Musk thing. I mean, we have to, there's a lot of things that the headlines that they can use. So we'll see. Did you also see in our neck of the woods here in the Bay Area, for people that don't, the hacking of our signals, our crosswalks? Did you see this?
Oh yeah, in Redwood City and Palo Alto.
So did you see the video? If you guys haven't seen it, I'm gonna play it. So here they are. It's true. Apparently, this is a TikTok video of people that actually had it happen.
Wait. It is infant. Hi, this is Elon Musk. Welcome to Palo Alto, the home of Tesla engineering. You know, they say money can't buy happiness, and yeah, okay. I guess that's true. God knows I've tried. Can buy a Cybertruck, and that's pretty sick, right? Right?
No.
Fuck, I'm so...
It's real. Yeah,
there was also a Mark Zuckerberg one where like AI was taking over. They had like shut down all of the crosswalks or something. It was hilarious.
I mean, what a great hack. You know, it doesn't hurt anybody. It's just funny. I love it.
I mean, I hate Elon Musk. A headline also that came out, was this today?
Yeah, Wall Street Journal, where he apparently is trolling for baby mamas on X.
Oh, that's a different one. I didn't know about that one. He's weird. He wants to like have a legion of people before the Armageddon or something, right?
He's trying to have babies like with random women that he thinks shows some type of intelligence, and he's picking them up on X. And apparently, according to the Wall Street Journal, making these deals to give them millions of dollars and $100,000 a month in child support if they can keep quiet about, you know, the fact that he's, you know, wanting them to carry his intelligent baby.
If they sleep with him, I think the intelligence is a little bit low.
A little bit
I mean, your intelligence to get paid, but I heard that one woman that had his baby stopped getting paid when she criticized him. So I don't know. Keep that in mind, ladies. Don't. I'm sorry. No, do not sleep with him.
So but as far as he offered you 15 mil, you wouldn't carry his seed?
No.
His intelligent baby seed?
I wouldn't let him walk through my friggin' door. Like, no. That guy is, he's one of the worst people. He's awful. And what scares me is when his kid was he at the White House or whatever, and he's like, we just do whatever we want. I think that guy's evil. I think he's definitely evil. Honestly, I do not think that he cares about people. No. I think that he's too rich and he just wants to do whatever the hell he wants to. And he bought the freaking election and he wants to be president. And I don't think he's good. This is the headline I was going to talk about. This has to do with Tesla. Tesla is facing another lawsuit. Anybody that has Teslas, keep this in mind. A proposed class action lawsuit claiming it speeds up its odometers on its cars so they fall out of warranty faster. Okay. So apparently the odometer readings don't reflect mileage. They reflect energy consumption, driver behavior, and predictive algorithms rather than actual mileage. One driver has said his car said he drove 72 miles a day when at most he drove 20. And so then he's out of his warranty way faster. And so Tesla doesn't have to do any of his repairs. He said this caused his 50,000 mile basic warranty to expire well ahead of schedule, leaving him with a $10,000 suspension repair bill that he thought Tesla should, of course, cover. Rich people doing the most awful things. You know what I mean? Like, and that's something that he programmed in his car. Like, that is a conscious choice that you make about your vehicle. Mm-hmm. Straight up. So if you have a Tesla, keep that in mind. Just letting you guys know that that's kind of BS. You know what I mean? Like,
and now with the cuts to the National Highway Transportation Safety, anyone who would investigate him for doing such things,
yeah, exactly.
He's already stuck his fingers in their organizations and been like, you're not going to come after me again.
Right. I mean, that is why he wanted to be there. He does not want anybody to be investigating any of the things that he does. That is why he bought the presidency. That's why he did it. And then we go from Elon Musk to Mr. Jeff Bezos. So we have about 20 minutes left. I want to get to everyone's thoughts about the flight to quote unquote space. Okay. So now this obviously, and I really want to get Kim's thoughts on this. Okay. So I watched it. I actually watched it live because I was up to get ready for work. Now I will tell you, I do think this is someone that's jumped out of an airplane. Okay. I've jumped out of a couple of airplanes. Okay. I think that when you experience something like that, I'm just going to lead with this. It's really freaking cool. I'm not saying jumping out of an airplane is anywhere close to floating in space and feeling that weightlessness, but it's fun and it's cool and it's something you talk about and yada, yada, yada. Right. And I think that if I was, Gayle King or Katy Perry or Lawrence Sanchez, I would think that it was really cool to be in a rocket and flying to space and undoing my seatbelt and floating and seeing Earth. That has to be hands down really friggin' cool. I'm not away that at all. But when I was watching, when I was watching that, I was listening to the play-by-play of the person, and they're like, well, now the astronauts. I was like, no effing way are those astronauts. I am not a pilot when I hop on my Southwest airline flight and go to Arizona. I do not all of a sudden become a pilot. I don't care. That is not happening at all. They are passengers. That is it. They didn't do anything. They didn't take the controls. They weren't trained. They did nothing. They sat there and they went up and they came back down. They're not astronauts. I'm sorry.
I'm willing to say that they likely underwent some training and that anytime a rocket goes up, there's a chance that it might not come back down or there's a chance of injury. So it took some modicum of courage to put yourself in this giant penis rocket and go into weightless space. However, this, as Heather, who works with astronauts, Heather in the chat, was saying earlier, it does not make you an astronaut. What makes you an astronaut is training and skill and education and all of these other things that go into, donating or giving your life's work, spending your life's work in the facilitation of development and going into space and science and all of these things. Just because you paid and maybe had a little bit of training to go up on to take this journey, that doesn't make you an astronaut.
No. I'm okay. So I've told you guys, and if you haven't heard it before, when I was a reporter up in Sacramento, I got to fly with the Blue Angels. Okay. And
that must mean you're a pilot.
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say. Yeah, I learned the Hick maneuver, which is what you're supposed to do so you don't pass out when you get all those G forces. And you know what I also got to do? They let me take the controls and do a barrel roll.
What?
I still don't consider myself a freaking pilot. Yeah. He's like, do you want to take the controls? And he let me push it all the way to the side. And we got to do that. I would never in a million effing years ever call myself a pilot.
That's a really cool story.
That's a cool experience.
The only reason you got to do that is because there's someone sitting next to you with years of training that put their life work into making sure they knew how to handle that. And we're sitting right next to you if you screwed it up. That's why. That's the pilot.
The pilot was there. I'm not the pilot. Those women got training, but if something happened on that rocket, they did not know how to do shit. Like they would not know how to do anything but scream like they did when they were floating in space.
Now I'll tell you this: I wouldn't even have gone up there. So that's why I
totally would have. I totally would have. I
have kids. I have children. If I don't want the risk of that rocket blowing up. I'll never forget Krista McAuliffe blowing up on the way up to space.
I won't either, but I would totally do it. I mean, if someone wants to pay for my flight. I would totally do
No,
it. Yeah, I
not
totally
even
would.
a little bit.
I
There's
would. I totally would.
0% chance.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I mean, but again, not again. And like Heather said, they paid a huge sum of money for a
Yeah.
glorified space Uber, and they wonder why nobody is impressed or inspired.
Yeah, it's
And that's
true.
what I also wanted to. Was this the right time, ladies? And now I don't want to be
Mhm.
sexist about it, but I feel like we had the same conversation when these first were happening with Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have said this every time people have hopped in these penis-shaped rockets and gone out of space. It's like, what are we really doing? Are they really in space? They're at that like Carmen line. Like, you're not really going in outer space. Like, let's stop acting like you're going to the freaking moon over here. We know what you're doing. You're going to the point where you can float. And then you're like, I'm an astronaut. No, you're not. You're floating. You know, I think there's a machine on Earth that you can spin really fast and then float too, and then you hop out and you puke. It's just not the same thing.
I wonder if Oprah called her and was like, Gail, you're not
No!
an
Oprah was there. Oprah's the one that pushed her to do it.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Mhm.
Gayle King has like a fear of heights, or flying or some crap. And I'm
Right.
like, it must be nice to be rich and be able to get over your fear of heights or
Mhm.
flying by
Yeah.
going on a rocket. You know what I mean? So
As Heather says, I judge the male
Yes.
millionaires too. Tone deaf, gender has squat to do with it because
exactly.
Gayle King is like, oh, they judge women. They say women are not astronauts, but we are. No, you're a space
Yeah.
tourist.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what you are.
But
You're
I
a space
also don't
tourist.
feel like I don't feel like people were calling Jeff
Mhm.
Bezos astronauts. I never called Jeff Bezos an astronaut. And I feel like we were trying to give these titles. There were two astronauts, Aisha Bowe and Amanda Nguyen. And Amanda Nguyen is an astrophysicist and an activist who put her space goals on hold because she had been sexually assaulted
Oh,
and worked for domestic violence legislation that she got passed in Congress and then went back and finished this. And this was the ride to fulfill her dreams. So if anybody, and that's also what pissed me off, is the names that were being said were not these two women's names.
Yeah.
That's what was also very, they were in the pictures and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And I get it. It always happens. The
They're
celebrity
not
names.
famous,
But
right?
they're not the ones, and they were being interviewed. And I know that a lot of people were saying, like, let's interview the actual astronauts. But it's very annoying.
Yeah.
Now, Katy Perry, I think,
It taught me all about love.
if there was a hierarchy of annoying people on this
Oh, wow.
rocket, Lauren Sanchez, I think, kind of stayed quiet because
Mhm.
she's just the rich one, right? Like, nobody wants to hear from Lauren Sanchez. You're just Jeff Bezos' wife, okay? And then there's Gayle King, who's Oprah's best friend.
She was there to do a study about what fake boobs do in space.
And like
Sorry.
and
Is
fake
that the
door
most
opening
catty
from
thing
Jeff
I've ever said?
Bezos.
Yeah.
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 And then there's Gayle King, who was Oprah's friend, and she was on CBS News and very offended by all the criticism, which, just to put a final note on Gayle King, should have saw it coming because you knew the headlines going into it. Like,
Yeah.
Gayle King should have known, okay? But Katy Perry with the flower and the song and the kissing of the ground. I know they all did the kissing of the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Katy Perry. I have nothing against Katy Perry, but I feel like she's getting the most criticism and harsh reaction.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's completely warranted, but she does seem to have the most criticism for some
She just
reason.
looked like Space Cadet Journey to the Sky. That's what she looked like.
Yeah.
Remember that song, Space Cadet Journey to the Sky?
I don't actually know that song.
Oh, she looked like she had no brain in her head and she was a total space cadet. And she came down with her like, oh, it's about love and my little flower.
Yeah.
She just didn't look like very intelligent to me.
Well, it
Even
just
though I understand her sentiment. You do find out who loves you when you're climbing aboard the penis rocket and you might not come back. And her daughter's name is Daisy and all of this. And I get why she did it and her sentiments and whatever, but she came off looking like a full-on airhead.
Well, to me, it looked like everything was posed. Does that make sense? Like all of
Mhm.
the pictures and the flower. And then apparently Gayle King was saying, everyone was asking her to sing a song, and she's like, I'm just trying to be in the moment. And then as they were coming down or something, she decided to sing It's a Wonderful World. And everyone was like, oh, I don't know. It just seemed really over dramatic.
Yeah.
But again, I wasn't there, and I hate being this way. Like, I think if I was there, really cool moment. Honestly. Yeah, Major Tom would have been a really good choice. That would have been a really good song to sing. I don't know. I just hate being like snarky about it, especially because apparently Wendy's, the fast food chain, has the snarkiness award on Katy Perry on lock. So when Katy Perry took that picture where she was kissing the ground, apparently Wendy's social media campaign like retweeted it and said, can we send her back? and then it never stopped from there. Like, they did not stop like criticizing her. It just kept going and going and going. And they never, she's like, they're like, I kissed the ground and I liked it. Like, they just kept criticizing her.
What it says to me is that, and maybe this is me making everything about politics,
right?
But I feel like people are so scared and disillusioned with what's happening in the world that they will glom on to these pop culture moments, these, moments that happen that everyone will remember. Oh my gosh, remember when Katy Perry went to space, or remember when Gayle King said she's an astronaut, and it becomes this moment of levity and humor in a dark world. And I think that's what's happening, even if it makes us all look a little bit catty, even if it makes us all look a little bit like, are you paying attention to things that aren't really important? Yes, all of that's true. And snicker, what a bunch of idiots, right? Yeah,
I know. I mean, it's from the outfits being like kind of skin tight and attractive, and the glam of it all. Like, I don't know. I don't mind it, but I mind it. It's this, and then they're like, oh, the criticism is sexist. But also at the same time, it's like, well, you kind of brought some of it on yourself by talking about it, right? You could have nipped it in the bud. Like, I don't want to talk about the outfits. I don't want to talk about the glam. There are some things that you, and I'm talking about the ladies, brought on yourself, not the astronauts, but the celebrities. You brought it on yourself. And not only that, Gayle King, going back to her, didn't really help herself when she's like, people should educate themselves about the goal of Blue Origin. We want to take all of our trash and put it out into outer space. I'm not quite sure that, one, a lot of people want to do that. Space junk is a huge problem. So unless you're actually taking the junk way out into space where it's not being pulled back in, it's a problem.
Yeah.
They've talked about this space junk and it hitting our satellites, destroying satellites. You should educate yourselves about that. It's a problem.
We don't know what we're doing, right? Maybe we should operate on the take only pictures, leave only footprints mode until we understand the damage that we might be doing to the universe. Just a thought. I don't know.
Like, just throw our trash into outer space. We always think there's an away, and maybe there's not. And we should stop thinking like that. And she's like, and Gayle King had the audacity to say, I know it's expensive, but the more people that do it, the cheaper get. It's not like organic food, Gayle. You know what I mean? It's like $250,000.
Should we climb aboard the next penis rocket? Let's do it. Oh, wait a minute.
It's not organic fruit. It's not organic vegetables, where if enough of us buy it, it's just going to drop $1 or $2. You know what I mean? It's $250,000 probably, at least, maybe 600. I have no idea, because you have to put $150,000 deposit just to get the conversation going. I think that's not happening for any of us, as our 401ks are getting decimated, but billionaires are making, money leaps and bounds because they're reading the market. It just is this it's just messed up. It's just So messed up. I don't
I
know.
know we have time is of the essence here,
Yes.
but I want to throw two topics at you that
Okay,
are
go.
related.
We have 8 minutes, so
really,
let's go.
really quickly because
Let's
I've
go.
been holding on to them and I haven't been able to get to them, and I think they're so important and interesting.
Let's go.
Number one,
Mhm.
Nate Silver, he's the guy.
I do know
who's a
Nate
big
Silver, yes.
prediction. Yeah. He is predicting who will be the 2028 Democratic presidential nominee. Who do you think?
Oh, Democratic.
Who do you think he's going to pick?
Pete.
He doesn't pick Pete.
He
doesn't pick
doesn't.
Pete. He says it's going to be Alexandria
Andrea Ocasio-Cortez
will be the 2028 Democratic presidential nominee. According to Nate Silver, she was going to be my first pick, and I can't conceal that now, he said. He says, I think there's a lot of points in her favor. And in a Yale poll out this week, AOC has the highest net favorability rating of any of the Democrats they asked about. Now, the same poll that they referenced also shows Buttigieg, as you mentioned, and Kamala Harris as highly favored among Democrats as well. And we know that AOC is currently on the Fight Oligarchy tour with Bernie Sanders, so her name is out there, her words are out there, so there's that. Next, I want to tell you that something interesting is happening in the Democratic Party. The vice chair of the Democratic National Committee. He's a younger guy. His name is David Hogg with 2 Gs.
I've heard this. Yes.
And he's basically, we're eating our own, kind of. All right. He's, instead of going after Republicans, going after and funding Democratic candidates who will affect change and go after ineffective, asleep at the wheel Democrats. So he's was the 25-year-old who was this outspoken survivor of that high school shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School. And he says he's founded this group called Leaders We Deserve. And so on Tuesday, he announced that he's going to spend, or the DNC will spend 20 million, Leaders We Deserve will spend this, 20 million in considered safe blue Democratic primaries against sitting House members by supporting possibly younger opponents. He says the group won't back primary challenges in battleground districts because he wants to win the majority. But he says we have a culture of seniority politics that has created a litmus test of who deserves to be here. And we need people, regardless of their age, that are ready to fight. So it's controversial because you're taking these districts that are safe and you're really shaking it up with these candidates that are untested, that don't have seniority, that might not be able to get these senior positions once they get into Congress.
Who says?
Of importance. Well, it takes people usually take a while to work up to get the.
Not necessarily. Look at AOC. I mean, again, if you're talking about, if Nate Silver is talking about the Democratic nominee either being Pete Buttigieg or AOC, who are very young in their political career, if you think about it, right? And if the Democratic Party, they need this. We have been screaming that that our politicians, again, I don't want to be ageist, but we need new blood. That has been the problem. Everybody is just like, oh, well, they've been in this position for so long. It's been the Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein, Chuck Schumer problem of the Democratic Party. They don't want to let go of their seats. They're not training the next generation until they basically are about to die. And that's our problem. That is our problem.
Is it more wise to spend the money to fight against Republicans in districts that there's a chance we could flip? Or is it wise to take a look at who the Democrats are that are just languishing and need to go and spend the money there? I would argue that you have the Democratic votes, even if these politicians maybe are not acting to the best of their ability, and they're just kind of hanging out.
Do you want the Democratic Party to change? Do you actually, or do you want it to stay the same? That is the question. Yeah. I mean, I am sick and tired of the Democratic Party because, again, that is why we lost. We lost because the Democratic Party says one thing, but we continue to do the same shit, right? Yeah. Because we're following this playbook that doesn't work anymore. We say we're for universal health care, but we don't have it. Right? We say we're for all these things, but we don't get it passed. And the Republican Party has it on lock because they talk about these things and then they put somebody in power that's doing it.
Right.
Right? So we need to have the young blood that's going to do it. I have no problem. If it's a safe district, and I don't think that anything's safe anymore. You know what I mean? I don't think things are safe anymore. You want to inspire people? Look what happened in Folsom, right?
Yep.
Look what's happening in these red states. You have to inspire people that you're actually meaning it. You want to wheel out your old politician? Knock yourself out, but that's not going to inspire people that you actually mean it when you're talking about change. So
I don't know if now is the time. I don't know if now is the time
it's never
to
going to
start
be the time.
weeding the Democratic garden when we're looking at such a fierce opponent and chaos. Isn't the money better spent right now? Weed your garden out of the ineffectual people that are in there when you aren't facing such monumental fight ahead of
This
you.
garden has lost us elections.
Mm.
This garden is losing us elections. I mean, let's at least look at the midterms. Let's see what happens at the midterms. Let's see who's actually, making inroads, and let's see what they say.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. If we don't win in the midterms like we are hoping, I think Hogg has a huge point. You know what I mean? Exactly, Cheryl. I am totally fine with it. We have nothing to lose because we're losing so much right now that we need to make big changes. We do. That's what people are desperate for. That is what people are screaming for. And that if we don't give it to them, Trump's going to fill that vacuum. You want reforming government? He's reforming it all right in the complete opposite way that we want.
That's right.
And, so I think Hogg has a point. He's young. People want that. We are at the, crossroads of what we are as a country. We are a young country in the grand scheme of things. And if we don't get it together soon, we're losing it. And I hate to put it like that, but I really, truly believe more people in this country still believe in what the Constitution stands for, but we need real leaders that are going to do something about it.
I just worry. My worry is that the Republicans and the Trumpers are looking at us spending money fighting against ourselves instead of having every last penny go to the fight against them. And they're going, look at them. They
got AOC elected. They got Lauren Boebert elected. They got those asshats elected, and they were radical
MTV.
Republicans.
Yeah.
Why? Because they spoke those radical ideas that resonated with Republican voters. We need a response to that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, Yeah. So we can't lose. I mean, what do we have to lose, Kim? We've already lost. Look who's in the White House again.
Agreed.
Again. All right. Well, I have to go. It's 6:00. I have thank yous before I have to go. Yay, Dylan. Thank you, Vicky, because
look at the superstar right there.
He's so excited. So he's excited. Everyone's wishing you a very good luck. And if they want to see a video, perhaps. But anyways, we have to go. It is opening night. So wish him very good luck. Everyone's saying, yay.
You're going to be amazing. I know you're going to be amazing.
You're going to be amazing. Okay, I'll be there in just a second. I'm saying my goodbyes. So he's going to be off. We're going to a play. Thank you so much, Vicky, for the $20 donation. Ren, thank you so much as well. Louise coming in with two $5 donations. Actually, three $5 donations. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. I know it's an abbreviated show. We will be back next week. If you can't support the show, there's so many ways of doing so. They're in the show notes, but our Patreon is open, as well as PayPal, which we absolutely love. There's also the super chats and the super stickers and all those ways as well. I will be back with hopefully some videos and
click subscribe
and tell your friends to subscribe as well, because we always really do appreciate it. And Auntie Tabby's, she's a supporter of the show. So if you go to auntie-tabbies.com, use the coupon code Nick Kim, and you get 10% off every single time you order. Nick Kim for 10% every time you order. So thank you guys so very much. All right.
Dylan. Woohoo!
I know. Oh, videos next week. I love you guys. Mwah. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.